Hi, everyone. It's Jen Duplessis. Welcome back to Mortgage Lending Mastery. I am so delighted today to have our guest with us. And, one of the things, it's so funny how we travel around the country and we just stumble on people that we go, gosh, where have you been? Where have you been my whole life, right? And both of us on the same side. So my host today is Brandon Barnum, and he is known as the King of Referrals. And he is currently the CEO of HOAcom, which I still don't understand how you got that. But HOAcom is the #1 referral network for home services, home service professionals. That includes loan officers, realtors, etc. And after closing over $500 million in referred transactions, Brandon wrote his book, Raving Referrals, and has founded multiple local and online referral platforms and networks, connecting more than 5 million people over 190 countries. He's passionate about empowering loan officers and other business professionals with a step-by-step system for attracting profitable prospects. So welcome to the show, Brandon. Delighted to have you here today.
Thank you. It's my honor and pleasure.
Well, thanks. And it's so great that we just met, but I know that we'll be longtime friends. As I'm reading your bio, and I read it earlier this morning, I love how you're the King of Referrals. That's awesome. So I know that it steps way back to you being a loan officer first and foremost, but I actually want to go before that if I can. Did you step out of school, whether you went to college or high school or whatever, did you step out of school as a loan officer? Did you have some other career in between?
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually started out, I had a marketing degree, Portland State University, and my first job was working as a marketing director for an estate planning law firm.
Oh, wow.
And during that process, I got custody of my then 2-year-old son. So I was a single dad. And all of a sudden, I couldn't cover my mortgage and the daycare expenses. And I found out because they kept sending my mortgage payments back saying NSF, insufficient funds. And I'm like, okay. This isn't.
There's my sign.
I got to do something different. So that's when I got in the mortgage industry.
Yeah. Okay. So how long were you in the law firm, roughly?
Just a year.
Oh, wow. So you're kind of like me. I got in before I got out of high school, actually.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah. I was
in my 20s.
Okay,
right. In my 20s, unable to make the mortgage and needed to do something different. So I said, how about this mortgage industry?
Yeah. So you got into the mortgage industry. What were those years that you were in the mortgage?
I was in from 97 to 09.
Oh, okay, great. So when we had our great debacle, known as the Great Recession.
And at that point, I was a broker. I had my own company. We had 3 branches and dozens of loan officers working for us, but the writing was on the wall. And I had really been called back to my passion, which was building tech. So I stepped away at that point and said, it's time to do something different.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I love that. So you did that for 12 years and you found that there's a real need. Now, I know that you also started refer.com, and many of us that are listening and watching, we know what refer.com is. It has a brand, at least for me, it does. It has sort of a brand name. How long did you have refer.com, and what was the impetus for you to start that? I mean, you were in the mortgage business, but I know refer.com wasn't specific mortgage at that time. So that tech, going back to tech, obviously, but where did you feel that you had to start this because the need was there?
Yeah, well, I knew what had worked for me successfully in the mortgage business, which was building referral partnerships with complementary professionals that served my perfect prospect every day. So that's what I did. Realtors, financial planners, attorneys, accountants, all the home service pros. And so I wanted to help other people do that. So I created a company called Trusted Team, and trustedteam.com was the predecessor to refer.com. And it was essentially a website that had your profile on the left and all your trusted team on the right. So your realtor, insurance, all the people that you recommend to your clients. We built that up. We ended up merging that with another software platform to create refer.com together. That was in 2014. And we built that up into the world's largest referral network, 5 million members. We had over 250,000 realtors. We bought a couple of other companies, including Referral Key, which is one of the things that accelerated our growth. And then we exited that in 2019. And shortly thereafter, I started HOA.com.
So, okay, I have a ton of questions for you, but definitely, so I just want to keep coming forward a little bit and then I can retract. I'll go back and retract this because I'm running this interview. That's
You're the boss. I'll do whatever you want.
That's how it goes, right? That's how it goes.
Right.
Okay, so I want to go forward just a little bit. Yeah, so you left Refer, you sold and got out of refer.com, but why did you go right back into this? I mean, why didn't you just keep it? Why didn't you just keep it going?
Great question. Really, at that point, we had really built it to the point where we wanted to. Somebody made us an offer we couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
And when we started HOA.com, it wasn't HOA.com. You mentioned the domain a while ago.
Yeah.
We started out as thehomeowneralliance.com.
Okay.
With the mission of connecting homeowners to professionals they can trust. And quite frankly, I started this company as the chairman. I had hired a CEO and had a partner who was the president. And so I was really sort of coaching passively from the sidelines while these guys were building the business. And then when I was able to acquire the domain HOA.com, that's when I knew it was time to get back in the game.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah. I just was curious why you left one and then just went right back into it again. So, I love hearing that, that you are all about relationships. And I know that continues to be the case. And we're going to talk a little bit about HOA itself, HOA.com, which, loan officers are going, homeowners association. No, homeowner alliance. Right. But we'll talk more about that. But I love that you said, referrals were, sort of the lifeblood. That's what I call it. Well, I call clarity as the lifeblood of your business, but part of that is referrals. And it's ironic that you're talking about it. And I love that you're on my side with this, because so many people ask me the question, how did you close $100 million a year? Year in and year out. And I did it all through referrals. In fact, I only did it with 22 referrals. I had lots of other people that referred little sprinklings of things, but my focus was on 22 people to get that kind of volume. And so it shows you that if you really, really dig deep into these relationships, they can create unbelievable opportunities for you. So having said that, a lot of people say to me, oh, but Jen, it kind of sounds antiquated now because isn't social media where I should be, et cetera. So can we talk about your perspective on why relationships continue to be so important so that they don't just hear it from me?
Yeah.
Because I say it all the time.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing is that there's data to support it, right? When it comes to referrals, people are 400% more likely to buy from you when they're referred to you. The trust is accelerated and accentuated. It's way higher than if somebody just sees you online, where you've got to earn their trust.
Yeah.
90% of people say they trust recommendations from people they know. So if a realtor says you got to use Jen, they're calling you. They will use you. Referred clients are 16% more profitable overall, and that's because they stay with you longer, right? They spend more money with you. They're just more comfortable and confident doing business with you because someone they trust has already vetted you and said, this is the woman to work with.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for sharing it. I love the stats and stuff. In today's market, I mean, it's a super, super competitive. Those that don't really have these strong relationships, and we are talking about offline relationships right now. We're just talking about strong relationships. Those that don't have those strong relationships, how can they accelerate those relationships? How can I have someone fall in love with me really fast? Instead of dating them for a while, how can I have them fall in love really super fast so that I can get to that point if I'm not a person who, heard Jen over the last umpteen years saying that relationships are really important. Right? If someone wasn't listening and going, yeah, whatever, and now saying, hey, wait a minute, now I believe Brandon because I heard her talk about it so many times. How can they accelerate those relationships to get out of this competitive nature that everyone's in? Because we know we're in competition right now more than ever, and it's only getting worse.
You're so right. I mean, the reality is with interest rates increasing, inflation increasing, and quite frankly, the inventory on the market decreasing, we're done with the refi boom, right? It's back to purchase transactions, which means it's back to real relationships, people. If you don't have them, you better start building them. Listen to Jen. She'll teach you the way to do it. And I loved being on one of your training programs because I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you said. Like everything you spoke is in raving referrals. It's just what works. Now, how do you accelerate that process? Number one, give. My license plate back in Oregon was give more, right? That needs to be part of your philosophy. You need to be thinking about, I love that you had 22, what I call referral champions.
Yeah.
Right? These are the people
those are my apostles, actually.
Apostles. I love that. That's fantastic. Yes. Like, let them go evangelize. Let them
That's
go
it.
preach to the masses.
Right.
But it comes down to personal trust, right? And how do you win over those relationships? That's what you're asking, right? And I remember when I got started in the mortgage business in my 20s, I felt like I knew nothing. I had no network, no relationships. So what I did is I went out to realtors and I found ways to add value. Now, this was 1997. Back then, only half of the real estate companies had a website. So I created a Portland online home buyer guide, and I started featuring their properties on my website and started promoting their listings. Why? Just to gain a way to deliver value to them as much as possible. And what was funny is I started out and I called 10 realtors and I said, hey, I'd like to feature your home on the Portland Online Home Buyer Guide. 6 of them said yes. Those 6 referral partnerships ended up taking my income from $20,000 to $200,000 in just 18 months.
Yeah. And I think this is really interesting. I want to kind of step back on this a little bit and talk about add value. This is such a loose thing, especially in the mortgage and real estate. Is like, I want to add value. I want to give value. And yet when I ask loan officers, my coaching clients, I don't ask everybody, but when I ask my coaching clients, so what does value mean to me? When you say, oh, you said give value. So what are you giving that's valuable? Right? Well, we close on time. We have great rates.
That's a so what though. Okay.
I know, we're like everybody,
so
you're
what?
expected to have all that. You're expected to have all that.
Absolutely.
So in your perspective, and yes, you gave an example of giving value back before websites, but in today's market, what does giving value mean to you? What do you see as value? And I know this is going to springboard us right into something that we wanted to talk about today, but
it's all good.
You may have a few more things to talk about too. What is value to you today?
Well, yeah, so if I'm a loan officer, if I put myself back in a loan officer's shoes and say, how do I add value to realtors? Of course, the constant communication update. Look, anytime you've got an update on a file, reach out to the agent. I say reach out to both agents, right? Because it's your opportunity to add value, to let them know that you're constantly communicating and you're on top of your game.
Yeah.
Every opportunity to reach out and add value is huge. But beyond the typical that's associated with our business, what are realtors looking for? Always think, and you do this as a business coach, right? Think about what is in the mind of the other person. What do they view value as? It doesn't matter what you think value is, it matters what they think value is, right? So what are the ways that you do that? One is helping them win more business, clearly, right? I was just in Atlanta with the executive team from Home Scout. We just did a partnership with them where we're adding a search homes widget where we'll have 93% of all homes for sale in America. We're going to be referring those leads out to different realtors and helping our loan officers do the same through HOAcom, right? Because that adds value. One of my secret tricks, honestly, is called bank. And I know you and I had a conversation
about this. Yeah.
This person, I love DISC, by the way, but I use DISC for HR, for hiring, for managing teams. I teach bank for closing more sales in less time because this is instant empathy and you can use it in a sales format. And this has been shown to help realtors increase their listing conversions by an average of 123%. So more than double their closings on listings. And then buyer brokerage agreements by 300%. Why? Because what it does is it helps you understand your prospect or your client and then speak in a way that really lands for them, that gets that endorphin rush because you're speaking their language and delivering value in a way that makes sense to them.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And I had forgotten we had talked about bank because you and I were talking about that. We were talking about, all the mechanisms. This is, the old game. Remember when you used to put your hands on top of each other and slap each other's hands when you're kids and stuff and, eeny, meeny, miny, mo or whatever. And, it's a layering effect. You can't just be a DISC profile person. You can't just be a bank person. And it goes on and on and on. There are multitudes of layers that you need to, educate yourself for on the personal development side so that you can apply it to the professional development to be able to dissect the people that you're in front of. Everyone has, I love it when people say, this is HR and sales both, right?
Right.
Love when people say, I treat everybody equally. No, you can't.
Right.
You can't treat everybody equally because they come to you in different ways. And one of the ways I do, I'm just going to share this real quick, but one of the ways I do this is sometimes when I'm speaking on stage, I'll say, how many of you want to make $1 million? And hands go up, right?
Right.
I could stop there. But I won't get the whole group, right? So then I say, well, how many of you want to have fun doing it? And then more hands go up, right? And sometimes both hands. And then how many of you want to create a tribe in a community that you're serving? And all these other hands go up, right? And how many of you want a step-by-step process, get your green card out, or blue, a step-by-step process in how to get there, right?
That's right.
Great. That's what we're going to do today.
That's a brilliant example because you're speaking to all 4 personality types. And if you haven't done this work, if you don't understand it, definitely you can get there through DISC. The reason I like Bank in addition to DISC is because I can hand somebody these cards in the real world, say, do me a favor, read these cards, sort them in order that'll help me serve you better and save us both time. What happens in 3 minutes? 3 minutes. It takes 1 minute for them to look at the cards, and then they sort them in the order, and then they hand them back to me. And then in 2 more minutes, I'll describe who they've just told me they are.
Yes.
Oh, that's so fascinating, Jen.
Yeah,
so, wow, I can see you're all about the opportunity.
Right. So how do we get more? And
in 3 minutes, you've built rapport faster than anything I've ever seen.
And I love it because it also, like you said, you're speaking their language, and part of speaking their language, aside from what the example I just gave, is things like, well, what we can do.
Yes.
What we can do, which pulls us in, right?
Now, what we can do, right?
It's really understanding that tonality. And I know that even with speaking with, whenever I go someplace, forget speaking, just hanging out with people, hanging out with speakers, I say, hey, we are all going to dinner. Would you like to join us? Versus, hey, I'm going to dinner. Would you like to join me? There's a difference in the personality types and what triggers them for that. And, I'm going to be a partner of yours. We will be partners, loan officers, when they're talking to clients that need that, to say, I'm your partner in this.
Absolutely.
If loan officers,
here's what I do for all my partners, right?
Oh yeah, community.
Yes.
Right. And if you don't know this as a loan officer or a real estate agent, as you're selling, you won't understand. Just even, I've gone through this so many times, just selling in a house, right? The way you walk through a home is, what did you think? Versus, can you imagine having your whole family in this beautiful kitchen? Right. There's a difference to the technicalities in that. Anyway, so we could go down we could just have a session on this, but
we could, but I just want to net out, just in case people didn't catch it. The difference that you're speaking of is changing me to we. Get rid of I and me in your language entirely as much as you can, and you can't get it all the way out. But the more, just like you said, Jen, that you can speak of we, right? Rather than me. They don't care about me, but they do care about we.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and we were just having a conversation, a friend of mine. And I said, we, and she said, don't you mean I? Because I was just talking about myself. Like, oh, I want to eat a cookie, right? I said, we want to eat a cookie, whatever it was. And she said, and I said, I'm so used to talking in we, I apologize. It's like I'm a queen, right? Like we love you, but it is really cool when you can do it. Okay. So so we could dissect that all over the place, but I think that is a differentiator in today's market. The faster you can get to understand what the needs are of your referral partners, whoever they may be, and realtors listen to this, because the faster you can get to the needs of your loan officer, the faster they're going to want to help you as well. And so this isn't only one-sided. This is a neutral. Both of us, as that's part of how I set up my calls is you may say no and you may say yes, but I may say no too. It's okay. I can do that too. Right. So let's get to HOA. And one of the things that I'm so excited about, I doubt if I'm going to have this available. Oh, I may, because you're speaking on day 2 for my event coming up. And I'll show you what I have. I have my antiquated way. Years ago, I put together a glossy printed spiral binder that I handed out when I went networking that said that it was broken out into personal services, financial services, and home services. Except I think it was the opposite way: home services, professional, and then personal. And I would hand that to people instead of a card, saying, "These are the people in my network." So you're going to talk about HOA. I'm going to shut up for a minute and let you talk. So tell us about HOA and what's so great about this home ownership alliance.
Well, thank you. And I love the fact that really what you're speaking to is the trusted team concept. I mean, that's what we built a decade ago, was that technology to be able to help people create their trusted team. Now what we're doing at HOAcom is we really have 3 different client types, right? It's all about the homeowners. Ultimately, we are champions for the homeowners. A lot of people don't love their homeowner associations. We are going to stand in the gap and support them and really advocate for the homeowners. So homeowners are number 1. Over half of all Americans live in a homeowner association. Now that we have the HOA.com domain, we are building tech out for them, but that's our phase 3 in our plan. We're really focused on the 3rd category right now, which is the professional service provider, pros who help homeowners. So how can we, again, add value to them? Well, we do that by, of course, promoting. And we say this is like Home Advisor meets BNI. The Home Advisor piece is we're promoting you online. People that are looking for services can search HOA.com. They're going to see our certified pros. We do background checks, make sure people are quality and qualified, and then people can find them online, right? We have 3 different programs for those that upgrade. We have a program where we're actually creating social media posts and ghostwriting blogs and articles for them, doing videos, and just helping boost their credibility and visibility. What I'm most excited about is our business alliances, and that's the BNI concept. That's where we help a loan officer really formalize all of their referral partnerships, because what I know is that you had 22. A lot of people don't have that, because we actually did a survey and we asked thousands of people, how many referral partners do you have that gave you at least 1 referral in the last 90 days? 18% had zero, meaning they're building their business all by themselves. They're like a lone ranger or a lone wolf, and it feels heavy and they feel all alone, right? Altogether, we had 79% that had 2 or less referral partners. So that
and that's pretty normal.
Right?
It's
so 80% of people pretty much all alone. We had 2% of those thousands that responded that said they had 10 or more. So that's why you are so successful, is you've taken the time to build relationships that lead to referrals. And that's what we teach. We help with the business alliances, where a loan officer or a realtor, if they want, can create their own alliance. They identify the people they want to be in referral partnership with, and then we're sort of your outsourced biz dev. We will call those people up and say, hey, Jen wants to do more business with you. We're helping her manage her referral partnerships. And so the reason I'm calling is Jen is doing a gathering, in 2 weeks from now on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Are you able to join her? Because she's bringing together all of her top trusted professionals so that you can create a powerful alliance and do more business together.
Yeah. And so for those of you that in BNI, obviously, you know what this term is. This is a power team. This is a power team on steroids. It's a little bit different than just the nucleus of a power team inside of your BNI, but rather you're creating the entire BNI as your power team. And that's
you're the leader. You're the leader of it.
Yeah, and you're not voted in or voted out or maybe this or maybe that, and you run it. So now I know some people may be afraid. They're saying, but I don't know what to do in this meeting, right? And you have a solution for that as well.
We do, yes. And our meetings are much less commercial and much more mastermind. We want to facilitate a dialogue. So we create an alliance agenda every month. You get a 2-page document typically that says, here's exactly how to lead it. We pull the content, quite frankly, right out of Raving Referrals. So every month there's a teaching point, and then really a list of questions to ask to facilitate the conversation with the group. And that way, everyone's learning from everyone else. What's working in your business? Where's the gaps in your business? Where do you need help and support? And how can we help you either through accountability, coaching? What is it that you need to succeed? And the group really rallies around each other, as people that are in BNI know. So, and we love BNI. I just interviewed Ivan Meisner a couple months ago for my podcast. So we're huge BNI fans. And for those that want to start their own business alliance, we empower them with not just the system and the script, but most importantly, the follow-up team that's actually going to pick up the phone and dial, because a lot of people
to do all that. Yeah, where you don't have to do it. And I wish this was here when I was, producing. I actually called it my advisory board, and I brought in my top people, as an advisory in that advisory board, doing a mastermind, not knowing it was a mastermind.
Right. Before you'd been certified to manage masterminds.
Before I was a certified mastermind leader, but and really what provoked, or what came from that, was what you sat in on, at my pre-event for this, was just, I call it H2GO, which is how to go from intro, how to go from intro to income, because so many of us get these introductions, we show up, we throw up, and then we don't call them back again, because we already gave away everything. We gave away, right. There's nothing else to talk about. And I had, as a result of that, I created these 5 questions that I ask every single time that I'm meeting with someone, because they are open-ended questions. They are absolutely open-ended questions to get people to talk. So I think it's really great. And now this also lends to credibility and to influence. When you can take the lead and be the leader in a group like this, you are elevated just automatically. So tell us about what you're finding for the people that are starting their own, I'm going to call it a little chapter, but their own alliance. Sure. But, all around the country, these loan officers are starting their own little alliance groups, and you all they're giving a list. You're checking it twice. You're making the phone call. You're, encouraging them to show up so that they can build from it. And again, this is not just home services. It's financial services and personal services as well.
We actually start out with what we call the FIRM Foundation, and FIRM is an acronym for Financial Advisor, Insurance Agent, Realtor, and Mortgage Lender.
Right, you're right.
Every single alliance, that's the core.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we help the loan officer first identify who are those people that you want as the core of your team. Mm-hmm. And then it's about building it together, right? Again, it's the we. It's not me, it's we. So we support that activity. And then one of the other things that we do, in addition to inviting and encouraging, we make you a rock star. I mean, you talk about the credibility lift. Yeah. Well, when you've got somebody else that's calling on your behalf and reaching out to your people and saying, hey, Jen is really excited about doing more business with you, by the time they show up, like, you've got somebody else that's singing your praises and elevating your status, which is huge.
Yeah. And I think that's super important, because this isn't intended for, hey, I've got a list of 75 people that I want you to cold call and say that I want to work with them. Right. This is not for that. It can be down the road, but I don't see it in the beginning as being that. It's like, what do they call it? It's not grandfathered in, but the first group of people that are in, like, you get to be, and because for me, that's a credibility elevator as well, if I can figure out what that word is. I'm choosing not to remember it at this moment.
Well, whether they're founding members.
There we go, founding members. When I first started my podcast, another podcast, not this one, when I first started the podcast, I called up people that I wanted to have on the podcast. And I said, I want you to be the founding initial people that are on this podcast. These
founding expert.
Right. And I got Frank Shankwitz, who is the founder of Make a
I love Frank.
He's passed away, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
Right. But I got Frank on there. I got Alex Stern, who is the co-founder of Constant Contact. Jeff Hoffman, who is the co-founder of Priceline and the inventor of the kiosks that we use. Right. I got all the best of the best in there because I stroked their ego in getting them on. And I already knew them. I already knew them. So this wasn't just off, like Brian Smith, the founder of UGG Boots. These are all dear friends of mine, but I stroked their ego to get them in, to get those first 10, to get that big pop in visibility. And that's what I would say that someone would want to do for you for this particular situation is, bring your best on. Don't bring all of them on. Create FOMO.
Well, yeah, so powerful, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to create the best group that you can? Yeah, you want to elevate, right? And sometimes elevating means reaching out and inviting people that seem like they're beyond your reach. But you know what? That's a mindset.
Hmm.
Like, you are powerful and people are attracted to you. And so if you elevate and know what's possible, this is about be, do, have. So first,
Yeah.
be the person that you need to be to attract those people into your life, and then do the doing, and you'll have the results. And the doing we help support at HOA.com. But whether you choose to partner with us or not, elevate your status as much as possible. It's one of the reasons I wrote the book, quite frankly, because then you're the expert. I didn't call myself the king of referrals, just for the record. Somebody put that on a magazine, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's what we're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that because, well, like, look at Mr. Thank You Note. Right, Mr. Thank You, and he's a good colleague of mine. Well, and even mine, America's Mortgage Mentor. Somebody told me that, and I took it. I said, "Oh, that must be what I am." I have a colleague who was told he's Mr. Awesome by Les Brown, and now he just calls himself Mr. Awesome.
Eric Swanson, brilliant.
Yeah, you got it right, Eric.
Brilliant.
And he's going to be speaking on the event this week too. Yeah.
I love that.
So it's funny that you know him. Yeah, it's good that we know each other, the same people. So okay, so if people want to get in touch with you and say, hey, you know what, that's something I want to do. Now I want to be careful. This is not another shiny object. This isn't, oh, well, that's going to solve my problems. The bottom line is, in today's competitive market, you need to already have these relationships. And if you don't have these relationships, this will help accelerate and at least get you to that. But it is not the end all. Right now, you should be honing in on your skills in every facet, your sales skills, and let people leave. People are going to leave this industry. There's in both on real estate and a mortgage. But you can be the straw that stirs the market. And this is it. This is something that allows for you to do that, is say, hey, I'm stirring up some activity. There's a flurry, right? A flurry of activity that's starting to happen right now. So be careful that this is not a shiny object for you and that's the end all be all, but rather that this is, hey, this is something that I can create a great foundation on, that when concentrated on, I can create unbelievable momentum. So how do people get involved? What's the best way for them to reach you and to get involved and find out more about this?
I love it. I love it. I'll give you the links, Jen, and then why don't we drop the links in, and that way the people will have those.
We'll have them in the show notes.
Because we've got different pages for loan officers and realtors. The value offer is different for you guys. So I wanted to just say that let's put those in the notes for folks. But a couple of things. If somebody wants to reach out to me directly, I typically work with owners of branches of mortgage and real estate companies. Again, I was just meeting with the CEO of Home Scout. These guys are massive and super exciting about this partnership. But people can find me on LinkedIn easily. Facebook, but LinkedIn is my preferred.
We'll have all those links in here anyway, so that everyone can connect with you. And I think that that's, super, super powerful. Is your book, I imagine it's still in publication. Can we get it on Amazon?
Sure can. Yeah, okay, we just actually launched it on Veterans Day, 11/11 last year, because it was also my 28th anniversary of dating my wife.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's great. I know that's funny. You said 28 days of our 28 years of dating. We, my husband and I've been together 42 Valentine's days, but we've been married for 39 years. Right. So that's what we say. Instead of dating, we're like, we've been married 42 Valentine's days.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, we're just about to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh my gosh, how fun. Silver. Life. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I think that's wonderful. The last question there's a couple questions, but the last question I have about business here is about how long does it take to put this into play? So once the contact,
Yeah. So once somebody applies, right, they're not automatically approved. They apply, we do background check. Then we'll schedule an onboarding and really walk them through the process and make sure they understand what they're saying yes to. We make it really easy too. It's not a weekly meeting like some other organizations, because a lot of people just find that it takes too much time.
Yeah.
So we recommend at least once a month. Some choose to meet weekly and others choose to do bi-weekly, but once a month at a minimum. And so what we do is we help somebody get that group going. We'll set up a private Facebook group for them and start assembling their team together. And then our team looks at that and invites all those people on the back end. So typically within 30 days, we've helped them launch their alliance and start adding more value that leads to more referrals.
Yeah.
Well, this is really another value add. That's the
Of course it is. Oh, no question about it. Yeah, because everyone feels like they're little islands out there. And I'm not going to give this away because I saved this for my clients, for my coaching clients. But this type of alliance I've done before, similar, like I said, I've done one piece of it, but I've done something else that I took to another level that created the opportunity where literally 4 to 5 times a week, I was out speaking at different events because we took this group and took us out into a different world. Yeah. And so if you want to know about that, we have to have that conversation, but because there are things I do have to savor, right? For those that are working with me.
Absolutely.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is, having this alliance is one thing, but boy, what it can do is going to be incredible. Last question I have is, what do you want to leave the listeners with that has to do with anything? It doesn't have to be, HOA.com, but it can be, but it could be your philosophy, your MO.
We've talked about giving and give more, right? My personal passion is for people to become a charity champion. So if you're not already supporting a charity or cause, Jen, you did this amazingly. And I loved on your presentation, you showed me all the different photos and slides of different charity events that you've either led or emceed or organized or supported. And guys, you should be doing that. Let your people know. 94% of consumers want to know what you're doing to impact your community. At HOA.com, we create community impact events every month, and then we're creating turnkey campaigns to support people and sharing this with the audience, the tribe, the community that they serve. So get out there and make a difference. That's what I'm passionate about, right? And share the difference that you're making with your community. They'll fall in love with you for it and be loyal clients as a result.
And you will grow your database exponentially. I mean, exponentially. And that's something I'm going to be talking about at Cracking the Top Producer Code as well, on how you can grow your database exponentially, because it's really a numbers game. It's all about piquing the interest of as many people as we possibly can. And, that's what's so great about it. So thank you. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
And the fortune's in the follow-up. Like what you're saying is, yes, create the database, but if you're not communicating to them, they can't read your mind. You've got to be messaging. And that's why I say the charity champion campaigns are great, because now you're staying top of mind with something that's not only winning the mind share, but more importantly, the heart share.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful, Brandon. I'm so excited to have you on my in one of my Cracking the Top Producer Codes as well. I'm really excited about that. And, hopefully in the future, you'll be at one of my in-person Cracking the Top Producer Codes instead of the ones, that are all online right now. But we're excited, for what you bring into the community. We're excited for what the community can gain from this if you take action. And of course, at every time we get to the end of my podcast, I'm saying, what are you going to do to take action? What is it? Are you going to look for a charity to get started in that arena? Are you going to give, reach out, through one of the links that we provide and just snoop into this and see what's possible for it? Or are you going to take even further action and create an alliance that elevates your credibility in your marketplace so that you can get the results that you're looking for, no matter what they are? So, Brandon, thank you.
And if I can add one thing there.
Yes, please.
The law of attraction has the word action. It's the word action is in attraction. You can't attract if you don't act. What Jen is saying is gold, and it's the secret to success. Take massive action every day if you want to attract massive results for your business and your life.
There you go. That's how we end it. Brandon, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for taking time to come here. I really appreciate it. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for all of the times that you listen and all of the times that you let me know what you love about the podcast. Take a few minutes just to scroll down on your phone if you're listening on your phone and give us a great 5-star rating, and then write a review about what you heard with Brandon, what you really loved about some of the little golden nuggets and sound bites that we had here. I appreciate those. I look at them all the time. I read them. I get really upset when I haven't had one for a while. So, don't make me upset. I'm not going to be mean, but just don't make me cry, because then I'm thinking, oh, nobody's listening, but I know you all are. And last but not least, don't forget to go subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can see us doing this rather than just hearing us. You can do both. And we appreciate it very much. And last but not least, don't forget to go to Facebook to Mortgage Lending Mastery and request to join our Facebook community, because we are taking things higher and higher right now. In fact, we're going to be doing some things in the next couple of months that will be changing that group. So we're excited to have you be part of it. Go be part of it. And with that, we will catch you next time on Mortgage Lending Mastery. I'm your host, Jen Duplessis. Talk to you soon.